Hey everyone, this is Troy Eckard, Talk with a Texan, Money and Life. Most of the time I do my different podcasts and I do my different shows strictly without video. I mostly want to give you the information. This particular time I decided to do a video in combination because I wanted to be a little more engaged with those of you that are going to listen and maybe take a moment to think about the message that I'm going to provide you. You know, when I get home at night or I get on the weekend and I'm outside just walking around my house or my property, my brain starts running 100 miles an hour. And I start asking myself questions like, what's my goal? What am I trying to do? I even reflect back on this show, Talk with a Texan, Money and Life. And I think, who's listening to this? Why do they care what Troy Eckard has to say? What is it that Troy Eckard is going to give me that I can't hear from 1,000 other so-called expert speakers and coaches? And I mean, these days there's more masterminds and more great coaches and life coaches and everything you can think of. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, who really cares? Who cares what this person's telling me? This person has a better mousetrap. This person has a better diet. This person has a better way of selling. This person has a better way of eating or building your net worth or protecting your assets. I mean, we are inundated with everybody being an expert. And so when I thought about doing Talk with the Texan, Money and Life, I thought, well, I'm a Texas guy. I grew up where your handshake was better than a contract. You told somebody you're going to do something, by gosh, you do it. When you create a friendship with somebody, it's not just a word. Friend is not a word. A friend is a verb. It's an evolving relationship that starts and finishes from the beginning and the first time you met them, and most carefully and most likely to the last time one of the two of you takes your last breath. I've had so many friends that have died ahead of me. I'll be 62 this summer, but I just watched so many that I went to school with and college with and business with, and they're no longer here. And so I know that friendships have a limitation on it. So when I think about Talk with the Texan, Money and Life, I thought, I want to do one for the end of 2025. I want to do one now, and I want to maybe give you some substance for thought. I want to slow you down. I want you to give a little bit of thought. Now, I want you to think about it from this standpoint. I'm not here to be an expert. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm not even here to tell you what's right or wrong. I'm here to give you a little bit of fertilizer to allow you to think beyond maybe what's going to happen today in your life, this Thanksgiving in your life, or maybe even this holiday season. So for me, when I think about it, I think life is a gift. You know, every one of us could have been born with some kind of a disease or a handicap. I fortunately was not born with either one of those. I actually had cancer diagnosed when I was 26 years old. Scared the heck out of me. But through God's good grace and through great medical work, I was able to get the cancer out, and I haven't had it in 40 years. I've been knocked to my knees. I've been as tall as the mountains. I've been in the gutter. I've been successful. I've had failures. But what I've always found is I've always been in a position of tomorrow being a brighter day. Now, sometimes that's pretty tough in life. You know, sometimes you see that Christmas tree and you see all those gifts under the tree. And depending on who you are and your age, you're either under that tree shaking it to see what's inside of it so you can guess and see what maybe your mom and dad has brought you. Or maybe you're that older teenager, that young 20-year-old that's gone off to college and you're no longer a kid and you're wondering, well, did my parents get me a pair of socks and pants and all the fun stuff's no longer under the tree? Or am I in my 30s and I'm married and I got my own kids and I'm not so worried about what I'm getting, I'm more worried about what I can afford to get my kids? Or you like me, you're a grandfather and you want to buy all these gifts for your grandkids. You want to buy gifts for your adult children and their husbands and wives. And you think, well, I don't want to overshadow anybody. I don't want to insult them. I don't know if they're going to use what I'm going to get them. So you struggle with what is going to be the gift you can give. I'm going to tell you the gift we can all give. And I want you to hear this carefully. See, we have the greatest gift of all. And the greatest gift of all is we can give ourselves. We can give what's in us to another person. So like with my wife, I've been together 40 years this year. At the height of my career, I was gone 90% of the time. I can guarantee I look back and I wish I could recover many, many hours and days and weeks of work and trips and things that I had to do that I wish I had back to spend more time with her. I look at my adult children and I look around and I say, gosh, I wish I had more time to have played football or baseball or dolls or whatever the kids wanted to do. I think I was a really good father, but I don't get that time back. See, life is a gift. And when I think about where I'm at in life today, talk with the Texan Money and Life, I'm not so worried about the money anymore. Every friend, every relative, every uncle, every business person I've known, I've seen billionaires pass away. I've seen some of the poorest pass away. My best friend in high school was so poor, he was living in a camper shell. I paid for his food, his kids' school. I buried him. He did not have a dollar to his name. I've seen both sides of the financial spectrum, but they all had one thing in common. They all took their last breath. And when you take your last breath, you will have a history, you'll have a legacy, good or bad, of who you were while you're on the planet Earth. And I look at it and say, well, if life is a gift, then how do I give the greatest gift of all, which is a gift of me? That's the hardest gift to give. My wife says, hey, I'd love to spend the weekend and just sit under a tree and go talk with you for 6 hours. I'm thinking, can I buy you a diamond necklace instead? Because time is hard to give. Time is the thing that we're running out of. Time is the most precious commodity we have. And it's in every cliche out there, right? Every cliche you ever hear is about time. We don't have time. You can't get time back, blah, blah, blah. But here's the key. Thing about time is time is really important if you know how to use it correctly, if you use it as a gift. And I want to challenge you, listeners of Talk with the Texan Money and Life. I want you to think about giving the greatest gift you could ever give anyone, which is time. Take your wife and say, I'm going to give you an entire day, whatever you want to do, from morning till night. It is all about you today. I will not touch my phone. I will not take a phone call. I will do nothing but just do whatever you want to do. If you want to go sit in a tree and look at birds, we're going to do it. If you want to go jump out of a parachute, I'm there with you. And what happens is when you give the greatest gift of all, the one thing that's the most precious commodity to you, your time, you have given that person, whoever it may be, part of you because you'll never get it back again. So when I think about life being a gift, it comes unassembled. See, when we were born, no one knew who you were going to be. I had no idea where I was going to be in life. My mother said from the time I was born and I hit the ground, I was full speed, 150 miles an hour all day, never took a nap, never slowed down, never did anything but full speed. By the time 7 or 8 o'clock came in, my mom said she'd lay me in the bed, I'd be asleep in 2 breaths, gone, done. No wasted time, full energy all day, every day, right? So for me, I didn't know what the jigsaw puzzle of life looked like. I had no idea. There wasn't a picture box in front of me that says, hey, this is a hay barn with a cow in front of it. This is how your life's going to turn out, Troy. It was a jumbled mess of identified jigsaw puzzle pieces that I had no idea the final picture. In fact, I don't have it today. As I turned 62 years old this year, I'm thinking, do I have 10 years left? Do I have 30 years left? Do I have 1 year left? I don't know because I don't know the remaining parts of the jigsaw puzzle. My life, your life, all of our lives come completely disassembled. We don't have a clue what it's going to be. We think we have a trajectory, and then here comes that slider, that curveball. Or you get a cancer, or you have a death in the family, you have a change in a relationship, or something happens in your career, and you're like, wow, I wasn't counting on that one. I don't know very many people who just have this one straight parallel path, goes right through life without any obstacles. When I think about Talk with the Texan Money and Life, I'm thinking, money's great. Life is awesome. Which one would you rather have? A healthy, vibrant life or be super wealthy? Because wealth doesn't get rid of cancer. Wealth doesn't stop you from having a heart attack. Wealth doesn't stop you from having a miserable life. Wealth just gives you more freedom. So what I want to do is tell you, I want you to think about not having any instructions. Nobody gave you a parameter and a guideline that says this is how you're going to live life. What they gave you was they gave you the jigsaw puzzle, and it's up to you how you put it together. And I'm going to tell you something that's the most powerful thing I want you to think about, besides the fact that time is the most precious asset you have, and it's the greatest gift you can give somebody else. I want you to think about one more thing. It doesn't have any limitation. See, you are not out of options. You're not out of time. You think you are, but you're not, because you don't know when the end is. So every minute could be the first minute of a 40-year run, or it could be the first minute of a 12-month run. So it's unlimited in that if I don't know the finality of it, I don't know how to quantify it. That means I should be robust. Every minute of every day, I should be 100% in the moment. I should be living it as if it's my last, and also living as if I have 10,000 more days to live. Because there's no instructions, I don't know what the final picture looks like. So today I could literally clear off the table, start from today and say, I have been an engineer for 25 years. I've done well. I don't like engineering. I never have, never wanted to be. I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to be a real estate developer. I wanted to travel the world. See, the nice thing about money and life on Talk with a Texan is I'm going to challenge you to think beyond the norm. I'm going to get you in a position, I hope with your mind when you finish listening to this, that you say, you know what? It is my time. In every minute of every day, in every relationship, in everything that I do, it's my choice. I get to choose if I want to go to that restaurant. I get to choose if I don't want to go to Aunt Mary's house for Thanksgiving because I don't like her turkey. I get to make those decisions, and those decisions are mine to be made as I begin to develop the forward motion of my future life, right, and my future wealth. If I want to take money and go buy a brand new car, I'm going to do it. If I want to buy a lake house, I'm going to do it. I'm not worried about what I save for my great grandkids because I don't even know them yet. I'm not too worried about my kids. I've disciplined them. I've made sure they were great. They had college educations. They're smart. They're polite. They're great human beings. They're creating their own family, their own careers, their own network. Only out of the gratitude of my heart do I want to leave them more money than they have themselves, but they'll be financially just fine if I never gave them a dime. That's all part of the balance between money and life. You're going to have money, you're going to get money, you're going to lose money, and hopefully one day you're going to leave whatever money you have left to those that are behind. Now, when I think about life, it's a trial by error. What does that mean? I'm never going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistake after mistake after mistake in relationships, with my family, with my customers, with my professionals like my CPAs, I'm going to make mistakes. So life is a trial by error. Every time you do something, you've learned either that's the wrong direction or the right direction. You've learned you either harvested better use of your time or you found that you wasted more time, and time I have no more of. So those precious commodities, if I had a handful of the remaining time in life, if all I could fit was the time I had left in my life in my hands, I can't afford for any of it to spill over. I can't afford for any of it to be wasted. I have to absolutely be in position mentally that says time is about moments and memories. I'm not competing against the next person. I'm not trying to jockey in position for the next career. I'm not jockeying in position for my name on the side of a building. What I'm jockeying for is peace and quiet. What I'm jockeying for is a place in my heart that says, I have led a good life. I've done it the right way. I've done it my way. I'm not in competition. I'm not in competition with my wife for the attention of my children. I'm not in competition with my wife for the grandkids. I'm there to recognize that the time I have, I want to give it freely to those around me that I care about. I want to spend the time that I have with the people I want to be around. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to cry. I want to be in a position of choosing what I do and where I go with the time that I have. Remember, the greatest gift you have is the time you give somebody else. That's a gift that no one can replace. There is no duplication, there is no replication, and there's no substitution with time. So as you listen to Talk with a Texan and you get off of this particular series, you say, all right, what was the message Troy's trying to give me? I'm telling you, I want you to take this time with a piece of paper or driving down the highway, and I want you to say to yourself, define success in your own mind. If you were sitting at your funeral and you had to give the eulogy at your funeral, and it wasn't a 3-line that goes engraved into the stone, but it was you giving the eulogy of your life, how would you describe that person sitting in front of you in that coffin if you were giving your own eulogy? I would hope this might be how it goes. Here lies Troy W. Eckard, a man of faith, a father, a brother, a grandfather, an incredible human being that was generous to his core. Here lies a man who never wasted a moment of his life. He was running 150 miles an hour, no brake pedal on, sliding into that coffin saying, wow, I'd love to do that all over again. Here lies a guy that left nothing for chance. He was all in every day, all way, in every aspect he did, because he had a passion for every moment that he took a breath of air. This is a eulogy that would define who's laying in that coffin. What you don't want to do is have people without words. You don't want to leave your life with people surrounding you going, well, if Johnny would have just been happy, if Tammy would have done this. You want people going, I wish I could live half the life that Troy led. I wish I could live 1/10 with the passion that guy had. I wish I had 1/5 of the energy and the life and the aggression and the love and the passion and the generosity. Now I'm being kind to myself because I'm describing myself, right? But it was my eulogy. I'm the one in the coffin. I could have said, here lies a jerk, right? That's not how I think people are going to remember me. I think if anything, when I take my last breath, I can assure you I have not left one single thing to chance. I'm all in every day in every way. My mantra, my motto, my life I live is moments and memories. Every single moment is a gift. Do I keep it for myself or do I share it with those around me? Your greatest gift in life is the moment you give someone else. Cherish it, be careful with it, and share it with those that you would know would appreciate the greatest thing you can give, and that's one moment of your life. I'm Troy Eckard. This is Talk with the Texan, Money and Life. Happy holidays, and God bless all of you.